It is time for another adventure. What's up? Welcome to my Why I Want a Flashpoint Paradox movie. So today I'll be talking about why I want a Flashpoint Paradox movie. So who would want a Flashpoint Paradox movie? Let's start running. I want a Flashpoint Paradox movie because I want to find out how Flash is involved in the multiverse, in the DC multiverse, and I want more lore and expansion to the DC multiverse, just like we've gotten for the Marvel multiverse. Like we learned about variants and Loki and Spider-Man No Way Home, and we learned about Kang and the Council of Kangs, and Loki and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And we've learned about incursions. We've actually seen them. We learned about them in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. And we learned about dream walking in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. And that actually plays into my theory about how Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday. But this isn't that video. I want to see how Barry from how Flash is involved in the DC multiverse, the role he plays in it, because the Flash definitely set that up with Flash and Dark Flash. Yeah. And also I want to see Flash teaming up with George Clooney's Batman that they teased in the post-credit scene of The Flash, and also with Chris O'Donnell's Robin. I want to see because we saw George Clooney Batman, so Flash probably got sent to the Batman and Robin universe. So we can see Chris O'Donnell Robin. We can see Flash, Batman, and Robin teaming up to fight Reverse Flash, who's the villain of the Flashpoint Paradox comic story. And Reverse Flash can be played by Grant Gustin. It can be how they bring Grant Gustin back to DC after his 9-season Flash show. Yeah. Kind of like how they can bring Miles Teller back in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars as an evil version of Reed Richards that becomes the Maker. They can do the same thing for Grant Gustin, have him as an alternate version of Flash that becomes evil and that turns evil and becomes Reverse Flash. That could be a very interesting story. A Flashpoint Paradox movie. They can take Andy Muschietti off Batman, the Brave and the Bold, and just have Robert Pattinson be the DCU Batman and introduce your new Damian Wayne. Introduce Damian Wayne through and how he becomes Robin. Maybe in the Batman Part 3, we can see Talia al Ghul and the League of Assassins, because after we can see the Batman Part 2, which we're gonna have Scarlett Johansson probably as Gilda Dent. We can have Josh Hartnett as Harvey Dent, and Matt Reeves adapting the Batman the Long Halloween story, and then after that dynamic duo in June of 2028, where we can see Nightwing and Red Hood. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, if we can see Dick Grayson and Jason Todd and find out how Jason Todd becomes Red Hood, and then we can get a Batman Part 3 a few years after that, where we get Talia al Ghul, Damian Wayne, more exploration into Bruce Wayne's past, just have Matt Reeves handle the Batman side of DC, of the DCU, in the DC multiverse, and have Andy Muschietti do a Flashpoint Paradox movie so that he can continue the story that he set up in the 2023 Flash movie, in the Flash back in 2023. And if that were to happen, my guess is the Flashpoint Paradox would release in 2028. I think 2028 would be a great release year for the Flashpoint Paradox. Next year in June, we're gonna have Supergirl, which it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy but DC, which I'm really looking forward to that. Seeing Jason Momoa back in DC, this time as Lobo. And then in September of next year, we're going to have Clayface. Maybe that can be like the part of the reveal that Robert Pattinson is the DCU Batman. Have Batman be like the villain of Clayface. Yeah, have Clayface find out Clayface's origins, see more Gotham in the DCU, and have Clayface fight Batman towards the end of the movie. And then 2027 in July, we're going to have Superman Man of Tomorrow. Right now, it's just titled Man of Tomorrow, but I think they're going to retitle that to Superman Man of Tomorrow. We're gonna have Superman Man of Tomorrow with them going up against Brainiac, which the casting, I'm so excited for Brainiac. And maybe also Lobo and him creating Parasite, and we'll have like the Superman, the Justice Gang, and Supergirl teaming up against him, against Brainiac and Lobo and Parasite. And then in October 2027, the Batman Part 2. So 2027 is going to be a great for DC. And then 2027. And then 2028, in June of 2028, we're going to have Dynamic Duo, which I think it's going to be great to set up the animated side of the animated movies of the DCU. And then in like October of 2028, we can have the Flashpoint Paradox. Yeah. Like, so we can get like double Batman in 2028. Yeah. And then in 2029, they can introduce Wonder Woman into the DCU. And like, maybe like, in like 2029, yeah, like June of 2029 can be when Wonder Woman releases, the Wonder Woman movie. Yeah. So, and like, if that's the only movie, and then like also maybe Blue Beetle 2 in 2029 as well. Like more, like, bring back Joel Maradona back as Blue Beetle. Yeah. Continue the story, have them find Ted Kord. Find out that Ted Kord is alive and try to rescue him. That would be pretty cool for 2029. Like, the rest of the decade could be crazy for DC. Like, we could be having like some of the greatest DC movies that we've ever gotten over the next like 3 years, in 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029. 2026 through 2029, the next like 3 years. And part of that could be the Flashpoint Paradox. They're beginning to reviving the DCEU, like as part of the DC multiverse. And like James Gunn and Peter Safran building up to a big Crisis on Infinite Earths event down the road, like 15 years from now, probably. 15 years from now is probably going to be when Crisis on Infinite Earths comes out. Because we need a lot of DC projects, a lot of DC set up for Crisis on Infinite Earths. Maybe even 20 years from now. 15 to 20 years from now can be Crisis on Infinite Earths. But Flashpoint Paradox can be the next step to building up to it. To building up to Darkseid as the big villain of the DCU. The DC multiverse. Because they kind of set up Darkseid in Peacemaker Season 2. So we can get more him in. We can get Darkseid. We can get Peacemaker to be part of this DC multiverse big extravaganza story. Same for Mr. Miracle, because the Mr. Miracle animated show is rumored to have Darkseid in it. And yeah, like DC is about to really explode. They did great with Superman this year, but they're about to really explode. So is Marvel with the next two Avengers movies, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Sequel. It's like DC is about to be on the same level as Marvel. The DCU and the MCU are about to be on the same level. I'm so excited for that. But yeah, right now I'll do my closing and say bye. Make sure to like, hit the notification bell, and subscribe. Until next time, guys. Bye.